Chosen one, stop what you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to shatter everything you thought you knew about your remaining time on this earth. God has never said this sentence over you before, but 3 nights ago at 2:47 a.m., he spoke it, and when he did, your face was right in front of him. I know you're sitting there thinking, God stopped talking to me years ago. I know you believe he's said everything he's going to say to someone your age. You've lived 70 years, 80 years, maybe 90, and you've convinced yourself that the best words from heaven already came and went. You're wrong. Listen to me carefully. There's a sealed envelope in the throne room of heaven with your name written across it in handwriting that predates the stars. And tonight, this very night, you found this message. God just broke that seal. You didn't stumble here. You were summoned. I'm talking to the grandmother who raised her children, but secretly wonders if God's disappointed in how they turned out. I'm talking to the grandfather who worked 40 years at a job he hated and lies awake at 3 a.m. asking, did I waste the life you gave me? I'm talking to every senior saint who feels forgotten, who's buried more friends than they can count, who looks in the mirror and sees only regret staring back. God sees something else. And what he just said about you has never been spoken over a human soul before. This isn't a sermon. This isn't religious comfort. This is a direct transmission from the throne. And if you can feel your chest tightening right now, if something ancient inside you just woke up, that's confirmation. That's your spirit recognizing the sound of your Father's voice, calling your name after years of silence. Here's what I need you to understand. God saves his most radical words for people in their final chapters. Abraham heard it at 99, Moses at 80, Anna at 84. The pattern is undeniable. Heaven's most explosive promises come when the world says you're finished. Stay with me. Do not scroll away, because I'm going to tell you exactly what God said. But first you need to understand why he waited until this moment of your life to say it. If your soul is already trembling, type it below. I'm listening, Lord. This might be the most important hour of your entire existence. Let me tell you about Margaret O'Sullivan from Queens. 73 years old, sitting in her apartment on a Tuesday afternoon last November, staring at 47 years of teaching certificates gathering dust in a cardboard box. Her husband gone 6 years, her daughter living in Seattle with grandkids she barely knows. And Margaret whispered to the empty room, God, did I waste it all? 2 weeks later, a young mother from her old neighborhood knocked on her door, desperate, suicidal. She'd remembered Mrs. O'Sullivan from 20 years ago, the only teacher who ever made her feel like she mattered. That conversation saved a life. But more than that, it woke Margaret up to something she'd been too blind to see. Every single year of her so-called ordinary life had been preparing her for that one knock on the door. You see, beloved, God doesn't waste a single second of your existence. Not one. Every heartbreak you endured, that was curriculum. Every disappointment that crushed your spirit, that was training. Every decade you spent wondering if you'd missed your calling. You weren't missing it, you were being forged for it. The problem is we've been lied to about timing. We've been told that if God was going to use us, he would have done it when we were young, energetic, and impressive. But that's not how heaven operates. That's not the pattern written all over Scripture. Look at Abraham. God waited until he was 99 years old. 99. Before speaking the promise that would change human history. Genesis 17:1 says, when Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him, not at 25, when he had strength, not at 40, when he had ambition, at 99, when he had nothing left but radical dependence on God. Think about that for a moment. Why would the Almighty wait until Abraham's body was as good as dead, as the Bible puts it? Because some promises are so dangerous, so powerful, so world-altering that God can only speak them to people who've been stripped of self-reliance. People who've lived long enough to know that human strength fails, human wisdom falls short, and human plans crumble to dust. Moses was 80 years old when God appeared in that burning bush. 80. He'd spent 40 years thinking he was somebody in Pharaoh's palace, then 40 years in the wilderness thinking he was nobody. And right when Moses had fully accepted his insignificance, God said, "Now you're ready. Now I can use you to split seas and shake empires." Do you understand what I'm telling you? Your age isn't your disqualification. Your age is your diploma. You've graduated from a school that only teaches through suffering, loss, disappointment, and survival. Anna, the prophetess, was 84 years old when she finally saw the Messiah. Luke 2:37 tells us she'd been a widow for most of her life, spending decades in the temple, praying, fasting, waiting for something she couldn't even name. 84 years of what looked like obscurity. But when baby Jesus walked through those temple doors, Anna was the one who recognized him. Her old eyes saw what younger eyes missed. That's you, chosen one. You've been in the temple of life long enough to recognize what others overlook. You've cried enough tears to spot authenticity from a mile away. You've buried enough dreams to know which ones are worth resurrecting. But here's what breaks my heart. Here's what the enemy has been whispering in your ear for years. You're too late. You missed your window. God's moved on to younger vessels. That's a damned lie straight from hell. What if, and I need you to really hear this, what if God has been deliberately withholding certain words from you until now because you weren't ready to carry them? What if there are blessings so volatile, so explosive, so kingdom-shaking that releasing them into immature hands would cause destruction instead of deliverance? Think about it this way. The military doesn't send raw recruits on classified missions. They train them. For years, they test them, break them down, build them back up, push them past every breaking point until they've proven they can handle the assignment. And only then, only when they've survived what would have killed lesser soldiers, do they get the envelope marked top secret. You've been in basic training your entire life. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every financial crisis taught you that God provides when nothing else can. Every health scare taught you that your breath belongs to Him. Every lonely night taught you that His presence is enough when every human comfort fails. You didn't waste those years. You were earning your security clearance. And now, right now, at this precise moment in your story, heaven is ready to declassify what's been sealed with your name on it since before the foundation of the world. If all of this was training, what exactly were you being trained for? What mission requires 70 years of preparation? What sentence from God is so powerful that He had to wait until you'd survived everything you've survived before He could speak it? Stay with me, because when you finally hear what God said about you 3 nights ago, your entire history is going to snap into focus like a photograph coming into clarity. Every random piece is about to reveal itself as part of a masterpiece you couldn't see while you were still inside the frame. If this feels like your story, if something in you is recognizing the sound of your own life in these words, just right below, "That's me." I read every comment, and I pray over them, because what's coming next is going to explain why you had to walk through fire to get here. You know what breaks my heart? It's the look in your eyes right now. I can feel it through this screen. That quiet rage you've carried for decades, the kind of anger you'd never admit in church, the kind you whisper to God at 3 a.m. when nobody's listening. You prayed for healing that didn't come when you needed it. You begged heaven to save your marriage, and you watched it crumble anyway. You cried out for your son to come home, and 20 years later, his chair at Thanksgiving is still empty. You asked God to fix your finances before you hit 70, and here you are at 78, still counting pennies at the grocery store. And your friends? Oh, your friends got their miracles. Sarah's cancer disappeared overnight. Tom's prodigal daughter came running back. Martha won that lawsuit and paid off her house. But you got silence. You got the sound of your own voice echoing off the ceiling of an empty room. Tell me the truth right now. Have you ever wondered if God just doesn't like you as much? Have you ever felt like maybe you're the one person he forgot to put on his calendar? Have you ever whispered into the darkness, "What did I do wrong?" Listen to me, chosen one. What I'm about to tell you is going to rewire everything you thought you understood about heaven's timing. There are two kinds of time operating simultaneously in your life right now. The Greeks had words for this that English can't quite capture. The first is chronos. That's the clock on your wall, the calendar pages you rip off month after month, the 60 seconds that tick by while you're sitting in the doctor's waiting room. Chronos is linear. Chronos is cold. Chronos doesn't care about your story. But then there's Kairos. And Kairos changes everything. Kairos is the appointed moment. It's the fullness of time. It's when heaven decides that the conditions are finally perfect for intervention. It's not about the date, it's about the readiness, not the season on the calendar, but the season in your soul. You've been living in chronos, measuring God's faithfulness by the ticking of the clock. But God has been operating in Kairos, waiting for the exact moment when what he's about to say will land in soil deep enough to grow it. Think about this. When the angel appeared to Mary, it wasn't random. Luke 1:26 says, "In the 6th month, God sent the angel Gabriel." 6th month of what? Of Elizabeth's impossible pregnancy. Everything had to be aligned. Zachariah had to be silenced first. Elizabeth had to be 6 months along. The Roman census had to be scheduled. Herod had to be on the throne. A virgin had to be in Nazareth, with a heart humble enough to say yes. Timing wasn't an accident. It was architecture. Your silence wasn't rejection, beloved. It was incubation. See, God knew something you didn't know. He knew that if he had answered your prayer 10 years ago, you wouldn't have been ready for the weight of what he's about to release. He knew that your heart needed to be broken open in exactly the right places so that when he finally speaks, the word could penetrate deep enough to transform your entire bloodline. You thought he was ignoring you. You thought he was punishing you. He was positioning you. You thought he had moved on. He was moving everything into place. Isaiah 43 rips the veil off this mystery. God says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Read that again. Now it springs up. Not yesterday, not last year when you were begging for it. Now. This moment, this Kairos hour when you're sitting here feeling like your life is almost over, God says the new thing is just now breaking through the surface. He makes ways in wildernesses. He makes rivers in deserts. And dear one, if your life has felt like a wasteland, if you've been wandering in a spiritual desert for so long you forgot what water tastes like, you're not in the wrong place. You're in the exact geography where God specializes. But here's what cuts deepest. God kept quiet because he needed your hunger to reach a certain depth. A shallow person gets shallow words. But you? You've been hollowed out by heartbreak. You've been excavated by disappointment. You've been carved into a canyon by years of unanswered prayers. And now, finally, you're deep enough to hold what he's about to pour. The silence wasn't cruelty. It was a surgeon keeping you still during the most delicate operation of your life. Every year you spent waiting, he was cutting away the parts of you that would have contaminated the promise. Every season you endured in the dark, he was removing the tumor of self-reliance, so that when the word finally comes, you'll know beyond any doubt it came from him and him alone. Tonight, That surgery is complete. The waiting room is empty, and God is walking toward you with results you never saw coming. So, what is he finally saying now that he refused to say before? We're seconds away from the revelation. But I need you to understand what you're about to hear will only make sense because of every silent year you survived. If you've ever felt God was silent with you, put a below. You're not alone. And you're about to understand why. You want to know what happened 3 nights ago while you were sleeping? Let me take you behind the veil for a moment. Let me show you something that will wreck every lie you've believed about being invisible. There was a meeting in heaven, and beloved, you were the only item on the agenda. Picture this, the throne room of the Almighty, where seraphim cover their faces because the glory is too bright for created beings to behold. The elders are there, the cloud of witnesses, the angels who've been assigned to your life since you took your first breath. And in the center of it all, the Ancient of Days himself, sitting on a throne that makes earthly power look like child's play. Then something extraordinary happens. An angel steps forward carrying records. Not just any records, your records. Every tear you've cried into your pillow at 3 a.m. when the loneliness felt like it would crush your chest. Every time you forgave someone who never said they were sorry. Every dollar you gave when your own bank account was gasping for air. Every prayer you whispered over grandchildren who don't call anymore. Every moment you chose faith when your mind screamed that God had abandoned you. All of it, written down, documented, witnessed. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Heaven keeps better records than the IRS. God doesn't miss a single sacrifice made in secret. Matthew 6:4 says, "Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly." But what if I told you the reward isn't just what you get, but what he's about to say? The angel spreads those records before the throne, and here's where it gets personal, chosen one. God doesn't just glance at them, he reads them out loud, every act of quiet obedience. Every time you stayed faithful when the church hurt you. Every Sunday you showed up to worship when your body screamed to stay in bed. Every Bible you read when your eyes were too tired to focus, but your soul was too hungry to stop. 70 years of walking with him, 80 years of trusting him, 90 years of refusing to let go, even when everything told you to quit. And then listen to me now. God looked at the council of heaven, at the angels who've watched your journey, at the cloud of witnesses who've been cheering you on, and he said something that made eternity hold its breath. This one has qualified, not perfected, qualified. There's a massive difference, beloved. Perfection was never the requirement, persistence was. You didn't have to be flawless, you just had to be faithful. You didn't have to get it all right, you just had to refuse to give up when getting it wrong nearly destroyed you. Job 23:10 says, "When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." You've been in the refiner's fire for decades, and what the world sees as wrinkles and weakness, heaven sees as proof you survived the heat. Every line on your face is a victory mark. Every gray hair is evidence that hell threw everything at you, and you're still standing. But here's what happened next in that meeting, and this is why your chest is tight right now. God didn't just review your past. He didn't just acknowledge your pain. He opened his mouth and spoke a sentence over your life that has never been spoken over you before. Think about that. You've heard sermons for 70 years. You've read your Bible cover to cover. You've prayed 10,000 prayers. But this sentence, this specific combination of words from the mouth of God, you've never heard it. Until now. Why would God wait this long? Why would he hold back something so powerful for so many years? Because some words are too dangerous to speak over someone who isn't ready. Some promises would crush you if they came before you'd been strengthened. Some declarations require a foundation that can only be built through decades of tested faith. Moses couldn't handle the burning bush at 40. He needed 40 more years in the wilderness first. Abraham couldn't receive Isaac at 75. He needed to wait until 100, until every ounce of self-reliance had died and only God-reliance remained. Anna couldn't prophesy over the Messiah at 20. She needed to be 84, widowed, broken, refined by years of waiting in the temple. Your waiting wasn't wasted. It was preparation for a word so radical, so earth-shattering, so personally tailored to who you've become through the fire, that if God had spoken it earlier, it would have destroyed you instead of delivering you. In that heavenly meeting, God looked at your entire life, every failure, every victory, every moment of doubt, every flicker of faith, and He declared, "You ready, not worthy, ready." There's a difference. Worthiness came from the blood of Jesus. Readiness came from your refusal to quit. And now, right now, as you're hearing these words, that same declaration is being downloaded from heaven into your spirit. Can you feel it? That stirring, that sense that something massive is shifting. If you're feeling it, don't keep this to yourself. Hit that like button right now, not for me, but so this message finds another forgotten saint who needs to know heaven hasn't stopped talking. And subscribe, because we're walking through this together. But here's the question that's burning in your spirit right now. What did God actually say? What are those words that heaven has been holding back for your entire life? You're about to find out. And when you do, nothing, absolutely nothing will ever be the same again. Listen to me, chosen one. What God is about to say to you isn't safe, and I need you to understand that before we go any deeper. You've been taught your whole life that blessings from heaven are supposed to feel warm and comforting, like a blanket on a cold night. But what I'm about to show you is different. This word from God doesn't just change your mood, it rearranges your destiny. And destiny-level words come with destiny-level responsibility. You want to know why God waited until now, until you're 70, 80, 90 years old, to speak this sentence over you? Because if He had said it when you were younger, you would have destroyed yourself with it. Think about it. What if God had handed you this kind of authority when you were 35 and still trying to prove yourself to everyone? What if He had given you this level of influence when you were 45 and your ego was louder than your prayer life? What if He had trusted you with this weight when you were 55 and still running on your own strength instead of His grace? You couldn't have handled it. Not then, not yet. But now? Now you've been humbled by loss. Now you've been refined by disappointment. Now you've buried enough dreams to know that nothing matters except what heaven says about you. Now God looks at you and sees something He couldn't see in your younger years. He sees someone who's been trusted with suffering and didn't let it make them bitter. He sees someone who's walked through fire and came out still believing. He sees someone whose scars have become their credentials. This is why your life has been harder than most, beloved. This is why you've carried weight that would have crushed weaker souls. This is why you've survived battles that should have killed you. Because God was preparing you to carry something that only the tested can be trusted with. You think you've been punished all these years? No, you've been promoted. You just didn't recognize the promotion because it came wrapped in pain. Look at Moses. God didn't call him to deliver Israel when he was a hot-headed prince in Pharaoh's palace. God waited until Moses had spent 40 years in the wilderness, tending sheep, learning humility, understanding what it means to lead the weak and protect the vulnerable. Exodus 7:7 tells us Moses was 80 years old when he finally stood before Pharaoh. 80. And that's when God said, "Now you're ready. Now I can trust you with a nation." Or think about Abraham. God promised him a son at 75, but Isaac wasn't born until Abraham was 100. 25 years of waiting. Why? Because Abraham had to become someone who trusted God more than he trusted his own ability to make things happen. Genesis 21:5, marks the moment Abraham was 100 years old, when his son Isaac was born to him. The promise came when Abraham was so old, he had no choice but to depend completely on God's power, not his own. You see the pattern? God gives his most dangerous assignments to people who've been broken enough to know they can't do it alone. Here's what I need you to grasp, dear one. What God is about to say to you is like handing you a loaded key. This isn't just a key that opens a bedroom door. This is a key that opens a bank vault. This is a key that unlocks generational wealth, spiritual authority, and influence that will outlive your body. But vaults aren't opened by careless people. Vaults aren't trusted to those who haven't proven themselves faithful in small things. And that's exactly what your life has been, a proving ground. Every closed door taught you patience. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every financial struggle taught you that provision comes from God, not your paycheck. Every health scare taught you that your body is temporary, but your assignment is eternal. You didn't waste your years, chosen one. You invested them. You've been building equity in the kingdom of heaven. And now, right now, that equity is about to pay dividends that will leave you speechless. But here's the tension you need to sit with. With great authority comes great accountability. When God speaks this sentence over you, everything changes. You can't go back to living small. You can't retreat into comfort. You can't hide behind "I'm too old" anymore. The word he's about to release will make you responsible for souls you haven't met yet. It will position you to influence families you don't even know. It will require you to speak truth when silence would be easier. It will demand that you walk in power when playing it safe would be more comfortable. Are you ready for that? Because God is asking you right now, can I trust you with this? If you're willing to be entrusted with more at this stage of your life, if you're ready to stop playing small and start walking in the authority your scars have earned you, write it in the comments, "Lord, you can trust me." Because what I'm about to tell you next, the actual sentence God spoke over you 3 nights ago, it's going to require everything you've got left. You know what breaks my heart? It's when I meet someone who's lived 70, 80, 90 years on this earth, and they look me in the eye and whisper, "I don't think any of it mattered." Maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're sitting in that house that used to be full of noise, children laughing, grandkids running through the hallways, and now it's just silence. The kind of silence that screams. Your spouse's chair is still there, but they're not. You set the table for one. You talk to photographs. Or maybe your body wakes you up at 4 a.m. with pain that doctors can't fix and pills can't touch. You shuffle to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and barely recognize the person staring back. When did I get this old, you wonder? When did I become invisible? And your children, oh, beloved. Let's talk about that wound that never quite heals. You raised them. You sacrificed everything, your dreams, your body, your youth. You worked 2 jobs so they could have what you never had. And now they're too busy. A text message on your birthday if you're lucky. A phone call on Christmas that lasts 8 minutes before they say, "Sorry, Mom, I gotta go." You tell yourself it's fine. You tell yourself they have their own lives. But late at night, when nobody's watching, you cry into your pillow and ask God a question that terrifies you. Did I fail? Was it all for nothing? Listen to me very carefully, chosen one. Every single tear you've cried, God caught. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." Not some of your tears. All of them. Every 3 a.m. sob. Every silent scream. Every moment you thought you couldn't survive another day but somehow did. Heaven has been keeping books on your life. And those tears, they weren't wasted water running down your face. They were currency. Divine currency being deposited into an account with your name on it. You think that financial pressure crushing you right now is random. You worked your whole life and now you're supposed to be resting, but instead you're choosing between medication and groceries, between heating your home and eating decent food. That's not God punishing you. That's the enemy trying to bankrupt you before your payout comes. Because here's what hell doesn't want you to know. Pain is the price tag of promotion. The higher the cost you've paid, the greater the calling you're about to step into. Think about Joseph, 17 years old with a dream from God, then sold into slavery by his own brothers. 13 years of hell serving in a foreign land, falsely accused, thrown into prison, forgotten by everyone who promised to remember him. 13 years of asking, God, where are you? Did I hear you wrong? But what was really happening? Every day in that pit, every night in that prison, every moment of betrayal, it was all going into the account. And when Pharaoh finally called for him, Joseph didn't just get a job, he got a kingdom. Genesis 41 tells us he went from prisoner to prime minister in a single afternoon. The pain wasn't pointless. It was preparation for power. You think God forgot about those nights you cried yourself to sleep? You think he didn't notice when you kept showing up to church even though your heart was shattered? You think he missed the moments when you chose forgiveness over bitterness, when you praised him through the pain, when you kept believing even when believing hurt? Every sacrifice you made that nobody saw, every kindness you showed when you had nothing left to give, every time you got back up when staying down would have been easier. God was making deposits, compounding interest on your faithfulness. And here's what's going to wreck you. When God opened his mouth to speak about you 3 nights ago, he wasn't speaking to some random soul who stumbled through life. He was speaking to a life that has paid a price. He was addressing someone whose account just reached maturity. You've been living like a pauper when heaven has been treating you like royalty in waiting. You've been thinking your story is ending when God's been writing the chapter where everything you invested finally pays off. That loneliness? It taught you how to hear his voice in the silence. That betrayal? It refined your ability to trust him when humans fail. That pain in your body? It's been crucifying your dependence on flesh and raising up your reliance on spirit. Nothing was wasted. Not 1 second. Not 1 tear. Not 1 sleepless night. So what did God finally say when your account reached maturity? What sentence did heaven speak over you after watching you pay the price in silence for all these years? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to begin unwrapping the first half of that sentence, and when you hear it, everything you've been through is going to suddenly make sense. If you've ever cried yourself to sleep asking God why, just right below, he saw me. Because, beloved, he didn't just see you. He's been counting every coin of pain you deposited, and the return on your investment is about to leave you speechless. Now listen to me, chosen one. What I'm about to speak over your life has never been said quite like this before, and I need you to hear every single word, because this is the moment everything shifts. Here's the first part of what God spoke over you 3 nights ago. I refuse to let your story end in the same pain you started with. Let that sink into your bones. God Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth, looked at the manuscript of your life, all 70 years, all 80 years, all 90 years of it, and he made a decision that has your name written all over it. He said, "Not on my watch. This ending, I'm rewriting it." You've spent decades believing that how your life began determines how it must end. You were born into poverty, so you'll die in poverty. You were raised in dysfunction, so dysfunction will follow you to the grave. You made mistakes in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, and now you're convinced those mistakes have authored your final chapter. But God just grabbed the pen out of the hand of your past. Revelation 1-8 declares, "I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the ending, saith the Lord." Do you understand what that means? The same God who was there when your story started is the same God who gets the final say on how it ends. And He's not asking your permission. He's not consulting your regrets. He's not polling your failures to see if you deserve a better ending. He's declaring it. He's decreeing it. He's rewriting it right now. I'm talking to the woman who's carried shame for 60 years about the child she gave up for adoption. I'm talking to the man who's never forgiven himself for the marriage that fell apart. I'm talking to every senior saint who looks back and sees nothing but a trail of what-ifs and if-onlys stretching behind them like gravestones. God is saying to you tonight, your beginning does not get to dictate your ending. You want to know why you're still here. You want to know why you survived that heart attack at 72, why you made it through that depression that should have taken you out, why you're still breathing when half your friends are already in the ground. Because God refuses to let your story end the way the enemy planned it. Think about it. You've been walking around thinking your best chapters were written in your 20s and 30s. You've convinced yourself that everything after 65 is just an epilogue, a slow fade to black, a quiet exit where nobody's really paying attention anymore. But that's not how God writes. Look at Abraham. God didn't just bless him in his youth and let him coast into old age. No, Genesis 12 tells us Abraham was 75 years old when God called him to leave everything and start completely over. 75. Most people today are planning retirement cruises at 75. But God said, your greatest adventure starts now. And it wasn't just adventure, it was destiny, it was purpose. It was a complete rewrite of what Abraham thought his ending would look like. Sarah laughed at 90 because she'd written her own ending. She'd decided her story was over. She'd accepted that her womb was dead, her purpose was past, her significance was finished. But God said, I'm the author and finisher of your faith, and I'm not done writing. Hebrews 12:2 calls him the author and finisher, not the author and the abandoner, not the author who starts your story and then hands it off to fate, to chance, to your own bad decisions. He's the finisher. He's the one who writes the last word. And what he's writing over your life right now is not what you expected. You thought your ending would be loneliness. He's writing legacy. You thought your ending would be regret. He's writing redemption. You thought your ending would be quiet defeat. He's writing roaring victory that will echo through your children's children. But here's what you need to understand, dear one. This isn't some fantasy where God pretends your pain didn't happen. This isn't denial. This isn't spiritual bypassing where we slap a Bible verse on a broken life and call it healed. No. God is taking every single year you lived, the good, the bad, the brutal, the beautiful, and He's using it all. Every tear you cried becomes ink. Every scar you carry becomes a sentence. Every battle you fought becomes a chapter that someone else desperately needs to read. God doesn't erase your story. He transforms it. He takes the first 70 years of struggle and says, watch what I do with the next 10. He takes the 80 years of barely surviving and says, I'm about to show you what thriving looks like. He takes every closed door, every betrayal, every disappointment and says, I was saving the best plot twist for the end. The enemy wanted your story to end in bitterness. God's rewriting it to end in blessing. The world wanted your story to end in obscurity. God's rewriting it to end in influence. Your own mind wanted your story to end in shame. God's rewriting it to end in glory. If you receive this, if something in your chest is breaking open right now, write it in the comments. God, rewrite my ending. Say it out loud where you are. Let heaven hear you agree with what's already been decreed. Because there's a second half to what God said. And this part is going to explain why your worst days are about to become your greatest seeds. Beloved, we've walked a long road together tonight. You've seen how God has been training you in silence. You've witnessed the heavenly meeting where your tears were counted like currency. You heard the first half of the sentence that everything you've endured wasn't random, wasn't punishment, wasn't God forgetting your address. But now comes the part that's going to wreck you. Now comes the moment when heaven opens its mouth and speaks over your life something so specific, so personal, so unprecedented that hell itself is about to lose its grip on your future. Are you ready? Because what I'm about to deliver isn't theory. This is the actual sentence God spoke over you 3 nights ago while you were sleeping, while you were crying, while you were wondering if you'd die without ever seeing His promises come true. Here it is. Let these words sink into the deepest chamber of your heart. From this day forward, I will not waste one more tear you have cried. Every pain you survived will now be converted into a blessing you carry and a harvest you will see before you close your eyes on this earth. Read that again. Slowly. Let every single word land. God is saying He's done wasting your tears, done allowing your suffering to sit in storage, gathering dust in heaven's vaults. Every single tear you cried over that rebellious son converted. Every sleepless night you spent worrying about money converted. Every moment you felt invisible, forgotten, cast aside by family who should have honored you, all of it, beloved, all of it is being converted right now into tangible blessing. You will carry and harvest, you will see. Not in heaven, here. Before you die, do you understand what this means? It means your story is about to comfort people you haven't even met yet. That divorce that nearly killed you 40 years ago. There's a woman sitting in her car right now contemplating ending her marriage, and God is preparing you to speak one sentence that will save her family. That financial collapse in 2008 that wiped out everything you worked for? There's a grandson watching you right now, learning that security doesn't come from bank accounts, it comes from a father who provides. Your scars aren't shame anymore, they're credentials. Your pain isn't pointless anymore, it's curriculum for a generation drowning in despair. But here's where it gets controversial, and I need you to stay with me. Why did God let you suffer so long if He was just going to convert it now? Why didn't He spare you the agony in the first place? Because cheap grace produces weak saints. Because suffering-free believers have nothing to offer a suffering world. Because the comfort you can give comes directly from the comfort you received in your darkest valley. 2 Corinthians 1-4 says it plainly. He comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God. You weren't tortured, beloved. You were trusted. This one will turn pain into power. And you did. You're still here, still breathing, still believing, even when belief felt like swallowing glass. But now comes the divine exchange. Now comes the moment when God takes everything the enemy meant for evil and flips it into good so explosive that Genesis 50-20 looks like a rough draft. You're standing at heaven's exchange counter right now, and God is saying, "Give me your grief, I'll give you glory. Give me your mourning, I'll give you a mantle. Give me your wasted years, I'll give you a legacy that outlives your great-grandchildren." This isn't symbolic, chosen one. This is literal. In the time you have left, whether it's 5 years or 25, God is going to manifest things that will leave your family speechless. Unexpected checks in the mail. Phone calls from children who haven't spoken to you in years. Health reports that defy medical logic. A peace so deep that people half your age will ask what medication you're on. And when they ask, you'll smile and say, "It's not medication, it's conversion." God took 70 years of tears and turned them into 70 years of testimony. Your final season isn't about loss, dear heart. It's about conversion. Pain into power, tears into testimony, suffering into seed that produces a harvest you'll actually live to see. But you have to believe it. You have to receive it. You have to stop letting the enemy convince you that your best days are in a photo album gathering dust. Your best days are being written right now by a God who specializes in making the last chapters better than the first. So let me ask you something that's going to determine everything. Will you let this word die as a nice idea, or will you let it become a living reality? If this sentence from God hit you in a place so deep you can barely breathe right now, if something shifted in your spirit that you can't explain, I need you to write one word in the comments: confirmed. And if someone's face just flashed in your mind, someone who needs to hear this tonight, don't ignore that. That's the Holy Spirit already using your converted pain to reach them. Share this message with them now. Because, beloved, God didn't just speak this sentence over you for your benefit. He spoke it so you could become the walking, breathing proof that He still keeps His word to the forgotten ones. But how do you actually walk in this conversion? How do you move from goosebumps to a roadmap that changes your daily life? That's what we're about to unlock next. Now listen to me, chosen one. You've heard what God said. You felt the weight of it settling on your chest like a warm blanket after years of shivering in the cold. But here's where most people lose everything. They mistake revelation for completion. They think hearing the word is the same as walking in the word. It's not. You can receive the most powerful prophecy heaven has ever spoken and still die without seeing one drop of it manifest in your life. Not because God lied, but because you never learned how to walk in what He spoke. And that terrifies me for you, because at 70, at 80, at 90 years old, you don't have time to waste. You don't have decades to figure this out through trial and error. You need to know right now, today, this very hour, how do I take this word from heaven and walk it into my reality before my time runs out? Let me tell you something that's going to shake you. The children of Israel heard God's promise about the promised land. They shouted, they celebrated, they believed. But an entire generation died in the wilderness without ever setting foot in what God promised them. Why? Because hearing isn't the same as walking. Agreement isn't the same as obedience. So, I'm going to give you something right now that could save you from dying in your wilderness when your promised land is only one season away. 4 steps. 4 simple, concrete ways to respond to what God just spoke over your life. And I need you to listen like your eternity depends on it, because it does. First, daily agreement. Every single morning when you wake up, before you check your phone, before you take your pills, before you do anything, I want you to say this out loud, not in your head, out loud. God, don't waste my tears. Convert them into blessing and harvest. You think that's too simple? You think God needs something more elaborate, more spiritual, more impressive? No, He needs your voice. He needs to hear you agree with what He said when no one else is listening, because hell is listening too, and the enemy needs to hear you declare every morning that your pain has an expiration date. Your tears aren't random. Every single one has been collected in heaven's bottles. Psalm 56:8 says, God keeps track of your sorrows. He's recorded each one. But here's what most people miss: collected doesn't mean converted. You have to give Him permission to turn your mourning into dancing, your ashes into beauty. That permission is called daily agreement. Second, radical release. And this is where it gets uncomfortable. This is where most of you will resist me. But I'm going to say it anyway, because I love you too much to let you block your own blessing. You have to forgive them. Your daughter who hasn't called in 3 years. Your son who put you in this nursing home and forgot about you. Your spouse who betrayed you after 40 years of marriage. That pastor who should have protected you but threw you away instead. That business partner who stole everything you worked for. You have to release them. Not because they deserve it, but because unforgiveness is a dam blocking the river of what God just promised you. Matthew 6:14 is crystal clear. If you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you don't, the flow stops. The blessing backs up. The promise sits in heaven, waiting while you sit in bitterness, dying. I'm not asking you to trust them again. I'm not asking you to let them back into your life. I'm asking you to remove the hook they've had in your heart for the last 10, 20, 30 years. Because that hook isn't hurting them anymore. It's only killing you. And God cannot pour new wine into a vessel still filled with poison. Third, immediate testimony. Here's what you don't understand about testimony. It's not just remembering what God did. It's activating what God's about to do. Every time you open your mouth and tell someone what God is doing, you're giving heaven legal permission to do it again, and again, and again. So when God does something small, and I mean small, like you found $20 in an old coat pocket, like your blood pressure dropped 10 points, like your grandson called you out of nowhere, you tell somebody. You call your neighbor. You post it in these comments. You write it in your journal and read it out loud. Revelation 12:11 says, "We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony." Your testimony isn't just a nice story. It's a weapon. Every time you speak what God did yesterday, you're prophesying what He'll do tomorrow. Fourth, anchor in the Word. I want you to write these down. Psalm 92:14. They will still bear fruit in old age. They will stay fresh and green. Isaiah 46:4. Even to your old age, I am He, and even to gray hairs I will carry you. Joel 2:25. I will restore to you the years that the locusts have eaten. These aren't suggestions. These are your daily bread. Meditate on them every morning. Speak them over yourself every night. Let them become the rhythm your heart beats to. Because walking in what God spoke isn't about sudden perfection. It's about steady agreement. It's like learning to walk again after surgery, one step, then another, then another. And God, He's your physical therapist. He won't let you fall. But I need to be honest with you about something. In just a moment, I'm going to pray a very specific prayer over your remaining years. Not a general blessing, not a nice closing prayer, a rewrite my ending prayer that will mark this day as the turning point of your entire life. Don't leave yet, because what happens in the next few minutes will determine whether you die with the promise or die in the promise. If you're ready to walk this out step by step, type it below. Step by step, Lord. Your new rhythm starts now. Chosen one, we've walked a long road together tonight. And before I release you back into your life, I need you to understand something with absolute clarity. The sentence God spoke over you 3 nights ago wasn't just information, it was installation. It wasn't just a word, it was a weapon placed in your hands. Let me say it one more time so it sinks all the way down into your bones. Your life is not over. It just crossed into a new chapter. You thought you were in the final act, but God just ripped up the script the world wrote about your age and handed you pages that have never been read before. Pages with your name at the top. Pages that still smell like heaven's ink. Now, I want you to close your eyes wherever you are. I don't care if you're in your kitchen, lying in bed, sitting in that chair you've sat in for 20 years. Close your eyes, because we're about to stand together in the courtroom of heaven, and I'm going to pray a prayer over your life that will seal what God has spoken. Father, we come before you right now, not as beggars, but as your children who finally heard their name called after years of silence. We stand here with every tear we've cried into pillows when no one was watching. We stand here with every year we thought we wasted. We stand here with every regret that's been eating us alive. God, we bring it all, every bit of it, and we lay it at your feet. Lord, I'm praying for the grandmother who's watching this, whose children stopped calling, whose grandkids don't know her stories. I pray you convert her pain into a bridge, restore those relationships. Let her phone ring with voices she thought she'd lost forever. Let her table fill up again before she leaves this earth. I'm praying for the grandfather who worked himself to death for 40 years and has nothing but a broken body and an empty bank account to show for it. Father, release financial relief into his life, not lottery money. Kingdom provision. Let him see that you are Jehovah Jireh, even at 83 years old. God, I bless their minds right now to let go of the lie that whispers you're finished. I curse that lie in Jesus' name. I bless their bodies with enough strength, enough energy, enough vitality to enjoy what you're about to do. Don't let them just survive to see it. Let them thrive in it. And Father, I bless their legacy. Even if their children are far from you right now, even if their family tree looks dead, I speak life over every branch. Let them live long enough to see the prodigals come home. Let them witness the generational shift they've been praying for in secret. Now, chosen one, I want you to say these words out loud with me. Don't just think them, speak them. Let your own ears hear your own voice make these declarations. God will not waste my tears. Say it again, louder this time. My ending will not look like my worst day. One more, and mean it with everything in you. My suffering is becoming seed. Do you feel that? That shift in the atmosphere around you? That's not emotion. That's the spiritual realm responding to a voice that finally remembers its authority. Now, if you prayed that prayer with me, if you stayed all the way to this moment when most people would have clicked away, I need you to do something. Write in the comments right now, Amen. This word is mine. I want to see who stood with me until the end. I want to know who's serious about what God just released. Because here's what you need to understand. You cannot walk this out alone. The enemy is going to come for this word the moment you close this video. He's going to whisper that it was just emotion, just an old person getting their hopes up again. That's why you need this community. Come back to these messages. We're not building a channel here. We're building a family of chosen ones who refuse to believe their best days are behind them. And listen, there's someone in your life right now, someone your age, who's one video away from giving up completely. They're staring at that bottle of pills. They're writing that goodbye letter in their mind. They need to hear what you just heard. Send this to them, text it, email it, call them and tell them, God has not said his last word over us. If you're new here, I need you to hit that subscribe button. Not for me, not for numbers, but so you never miss the next word heaven wants to send directly to you. Because this isn't the last time God's going to speak something over your life that he's never said before. Every week we gather here. Every week we remind each other that 70 is not the end, 80 is not the finish line, 90 is not God's expiration date on your purpose. Chosen one, let me leave you with this. Tonight, when you lay your head on that pillow, I want you to remember something. God has never said this before, but now he has, and he said it to you. Not to the young, not to the successful, not to the ones the world celebrates. To you, rest in that tonight.